Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. A new product coming from Montech known as the Metal DT24 base. This is an air cooler. In my previous video, I mentioned another new product from them, which is the Metal 120 PWM fans. These fans are amazing. If you guys have missed the video, I will leave the URL at my top right hand corner. Click on it and that video will tell you how awesome these fans are and all the information you need to know about these fans. Before I go in depth on all the details over here, I'd like to thank Montech to have provided this unit for me to share with you. First off, when I do the unbox, right, this box is very big. And the heatsink itself is being protected with this sponge over here. These are all the items inside the box. And I've extracted all the spacer, the screws, the thumb nuts, and the brackets in their respective bags. And on the bag itself, it does tell you what they are for. This is for AMD, which is all this over here. This is for Intel, which are all this over here. You'll be given an instruction manual whereby it will show you how to do the mounting for Intel and for AMD platform. Next will be these two fans here. They are new from Montech, known as the Metal 120 PWM fans. You'll be given a set of fan clips. Now this clip is meant for you to fasten your fan to the heatsink. Now moving from the top, this is the heatsink itself. It's pretty big, tall. I will show you the measurements later. And it has 6 chamber pipe connecting at the bottom. This is a nickel plated block. Now moving on to this section over here. These two are the back plate for Intel platform. Starting on my left, this is meant for Intel generation 9 to 11. And for this is generation 12 to 13. And this set of back plate, they have their specific standoffs, or should I say the spacer. And commonly used for this is the thumb nut. And these are the spacer at the back of for the mounting of your back plate at the back to the motherboard. And this bracket over here is for you to place above the back plate. Same goes to this. You can use either one. Then using the thumb nuts to tighten your heatsink to the plate itself. As for this is the AM5 or AM4 platform, or should I say the AMD platform. The spacer are specific, as in this are for AM4, and at the top these are the AM5. As you can see over here, it does show you on the spacer this is for AM5. And of course, these are the standoff screws. You're also ushered with a thermal paste and a spatula. I do not have a Intel platform, but just a brief illustration on how I mount the back plate. Now, be it the generation 12 and 13 and the before generation, they both are the same way of mounting the back plate and the mounting bracket. Let me just show you over here. This is for the Gen 12 and 13. Now, first thing to do, on your motherboard itself, right, flip over where you have 4 holes indication at the side. First thing you need to do on the back plate, mount this washers, or should I say spacer, to the back plate. Then mount it behind your motherboard where you have 4 screw holes. Align it, flip over. Once you have done this, right, place this spacer to the respective screws. Next, place this bracket. This is in fact the mounting bracket for you to mount your heatsink. Use this thumb nut to fasten it, and once it's in place, apply thermal paste on your IHS. Then align, you see the two screws over here, align it with these 2 thumb nut, or should I say screw nuts. Then once you align it, apply even pressure, screw it down this way and screw it down this way, but alternately, so that you have even, even pressure to your IHS. The mounting on the AMD platform itself, be it AM4 or AM5, they are the same. First thing you need to do, unscrew this, which I've done, and take out this bracket over here. These are the original brackets. Then once you have done that, next thing to do, as this is a AM5 platform, place the spacer. The difference is only on the spacer itself, be it AM4, which is this, and this is AM5. Now, place this on the screw holes. Once you have done this, right, next thing to do is to apply this standoffs. And if you notice, right, on the standoff itself, this is shorter, this is longer. So place the shorter part to the screw holes and tighten it. Once you have done tightening on all the screw holes, place your mounting bracket. And to fasten this mounting bracket, make use of this thumb nuts. Once you have mounted the bracket firmly, next thing to do is to apply thermal paste. But before you do so, make sure you clean the IHS surface. And to apply the thermal paste. And on your heatsink itself, make sure you remove this off. And it's always a good practice to clean the surface using some alcohol. And once this is done, right, you can place the whole heatsink aligning to these two screws. Now, I'm not going to use thermal paste. Instead, I'm going to use this special thermal pad meant for CPU. Then align it. Once aligned, make use of your screwdriver. And then for this, right, you will need to have a long screwdriver, or should I say long neck screwdriver. Then you screw to the plate itself. So doing it alternatively to give even pressure, as in, like, you know, the even pressure from the heatsink itself, I mean the block, to your CPU. And once that's done, right, then make use of this fan clips over here. Clip your fan to the heatsink. I've mounted the air cooler, and there are two things I've forgotten to highlight. Looking at the top of the air cooler, the tip fin stack, which is here and here, they are in black and they are embossed with wording. One side Montech, one side metal DT24. The measurements from here to here is 124 millimeter. From here to here is 134 millimeter. At the side, looking at the RAM area itself, now the RAM height clearance from the motherboard all the way to the fin stack over here is 62 millimeter at height. If you were to populate even longer or high profile RAMs at slot 1 or slot 3, not an issue. Your RAMs are not going to hit the heatsink. But if you're going to populate all, especially the 4th slot, if your RAMs has a height more than 62 millimeter, let's say 70 or 75, then you're going to have a problem mounting your air cooler because of the obstruction over here, or you might damage the fin stack over here. If you were to count the fin stack at the tip over here all the way touches to the motherboard, the height is 158 millimeter. For my configuration here, when I mounted two of these fans over here, now I'm able to obtain a height of 163 millimeter, which is touches the motherboard all the way to the top of the fan over here. Now, I would advise everyone, if you want to get this air cooler itself right, make sure your case air cooler height has a height of 180 millimeter. I'll tell you why. My configuration here is the fan is at the middle and at the rear. If you choose to place your fan at the front, this is what happened. My fan bottom is touching my tall rams over here, and I got no choice but to push the fan up, and it obtained a height of 172 mm. If my case does not have a air cooler height of 180 mm, right, then I will have problem closing the side panel. So something to take note. For the thermal test on this air cooler, I'll be using the AMD 7950X in a ASRock X670E Steel Legend motherboard, and the RAMs I'll be using is G.Skill Z5 Neo DDR5 32GB kit with a latency of 30 with X-Pro profile 6000. And of course, this air cooler coming from Montech, the metal DT24 base, and this will be an open bench test. Now, this is the UEFI interface of this system itself. As mentioned, I'll be using a 7950X, and this is a Steel Legend motherboard. Now, the only thing that I will set will be the XMP profile, or should I say the X-Pro profile, which is going to be the 6000 X-Pro. And I will not do any tweaks. Okay, probably I'll set this to 1.25. No, I will not do any tweaks on the external voltage. It will be on auto. And same goes to the AMD overclocking. I will not do any precision boost overdrive. I just want to find out how much this air cooler can provide the cooling solution to this processor and to see the gigahertz. But one thing I will change, which is the fan speed. Now, I know I only have the air cooler fans, which is the 2 fans. I'm going to ramp up to full speed. And as you can see, it's ramping up. So at all times, it will be at 2K RPM. The methodology is pretty straightforward. As you can see over here, this is the CPU temperature. I've let it idle for about 10 minutes. Then first, I will run Cinebench R23 for the first 30 minutes. This will not be recorded. Reason being, I want to let the air cooler sit and to stabilize on the processor itself. Now, the characteristic of this 7950X works this way. By default, it will push all the way to 95 degrees Celsius, which is normal. Then, depending on how much cooling this air cooler can do, right, from there, the processor will draw the power from the PSU, or should I say the PPT itself, and to push the clock up, which is the CPU clock frequency. So the more cooling you have implemented in the system itself, right, the higher clock speed it will be. So I would estimate that this will go 4.9 gigahertz or even better. I wouldn't know. So things that you need to take note is the CPU temperature, the clock frequency, the usage. As I run this test, right, it will always be 100 or fluctuate a bit and go up back to 100. And take note on the power drawn. Now, this air cooler is able to tank TDP of 270 watt. So let's see how much power it can draw over here. Then followed by the vCall watts pulling from the VRMs itself. Then these are the additional temperature, like the motherboard temperature, the VRM temperature. And for this CPU one, this is the fan RPM, which is the 2 fans mounted on the air cooler, which will run at 2K. And this, as usual, I have not tempered anything on the PBO2. So let's see how much this can draw. So I'll first start off with the 30 minutes. This is not going to be recorded. Then followed by another 30 minutes continuously, alright? And it will be fast forwarding when you watch the actual play. Then from there, I will conclude with an answer. Let's begin. The results are out, and what can I tell you about the results? I'm still shocked to look at the results. Alright, let's start off with the Cinebench R23. As you know that I have run 30 minutes, it's not recorded, and then followed up by another 30 minutes, which I deliberately took the last 15 minutes to show you. Reason for this, for the first 15 minutes, is in fact to let the processor calculate how much cooling this air cooler can produce, and to draw the power package off from your PSU in order to sustain the clock speed. Now, take a look at the clock speed over here as I play. As you can witness that it's hovering around 4.97 or 4.96 gigahertz, around that range. And now look at the CPU power package, which you can witness here is drawing around 195 watts to 197 watts, around there. Now, having said this, right, I did a test on the AIOs. I know I should not be comparing with the AIO, but it's just that the results are too shocking. If I were to compare to the previous results that I've done on all these 5 AIOs, now for those of you who actually missed the test, right, you can click on the URL at my top right hand corner. It will take you to this video that shows you that I've tested all these AIOs which on their default fans. And of course, similar to this air cooler test, right, I've used the thermal pad, especially for the processor itself. Now, based on the fact that if you were to look at the clock frequency, is 4.9 gigahertz or 4.97 gigahertz, which sits in between the Be Quiet Silent Loop 2 and the Deepcool LS720. And the drawing power is 195 to 196. My goodness. It's almost similar to the Be Quiet, and close, I mean, it's already past the Deepcool LS720. So it's amazing. If I were to place this together with this testing with all the AIOs, right, it will be sitting third, that's for sure. So I would say that it's very impressive of this air cooler. I didn't expect for it to perform that well. I was thinking that it was hovering around 4.8 or 4.9, but it tops out all the way to 4.97, 9697, and have a power package of drawing 195 to 196. Now, the specs on this air cooler TDP is 270. Alright, less of the marketing advertised as 270 watt TDP. I'm still impressed. As an air cooler, you can draw this much power off from the PSU. So this proven that the cooling solution of this air cooler, right, in fact, is fantastic. Montech have actually done a monster air cooler that can compete with some of the AIOs in the market, which is very impressive. The impression and thoughts about this air cooler coming from Montech, known as the Metal DT24 base, is all good except for one, which I'm going to talk about it later. Now, when I unbox the unit itself, all this item, which is the heatsink and the fans, are well protected by the thick foam. That's the reason why you have this box, which is pretty big. Well thought of from Montech to, you know, protect the fin stack from bending and to prevent the fans from breaking due to shipment. Now, when I take this out from the foam itself, it reminds me of another cooler, which thanks to Yonkit, you have lent me the Fuma 2 Rev B. The structure of it is similar. It's just that the fin stack is narrower, but the pattern is about the same. And looking at the grooving, right, it's about the same. I don't have a Fuma 2 with me right now, but looking at the pattern, it's about the same. And there's an increase of fin stack compared to the Fuma 2. The mounting mechanism is similar, but the only difference is that for Fuma 2, they did provide you with a long neck screwdriver, which this does not have. I hope Montech can think about it, probably provide a long screwdriver. The mounting of this mechanism is good. The brackets and everything is very firm. Best part is these fans over here, they are performance fans. Now, speaking about the performance fans itself, right, the whole unit itself costs $57 USD, and if I were to convert it to Singapore dollars, that would be $78. And for this fans, which I've done the review on, right, now each fan, the price is about $15 Sing dollars. So imagine that if you were to get a heatsink and were to get additional performance fans, right, that it will even cost more. But the thing is, it comes with the performance fans, which two of this is actually $30. So if I were to minus off the $38 off from the whole package, which is $78, this heatsink only costs $48. I mean, in Singapore dollars, which is my goodness, it's cheap. And another thing that amazed me is that it can compete with the some of the AIOs, which is kind of like, you know, mind blowing. So Montech have actually done a very good job in the sense that they have done a monster, I mean, air cooler that can compete with some of the AIOs out there. So well done. Overall, the structure is very well built. I can only praise, nothing but praise this unit, because I'm still in shock stage thinking about the cooling that it can provide on a 7950X, and it's very difficult for air cooler, in fact those that I've tested, to have it sustain at 4.9 GHz at default setting. Plus in Singapore it's 30 degrees Celsius in room temperature, which is kind of like hot. So impressive. Now, one downside about this air cooler is I hope that the whole thing is black. Reason being, right, all the brackets, okay, I didn't bring the brackets over here. The brackets are all this method, which is chrome. So when your fingerprints touch on the bracket itself, right, in no time it will oxidate and to form out all those nasty white molds on the silver plating stuff. So hopefully that they will come out with a full black version, and all this are black version. Now, for aesthetic wise itself, for me it looks very bad boy kind of, you know, aesthetic, which I like. Too much ARGB I wouldn't like, but a bit of ARGB I don't mind. And I do have a look at their website. They do have a ARGB version of this, not the fans, but there is a plate above it that has the ARGB effects. Probably I'll leave the URL in my description. You can check it out and to have a look. So if this is out in the market in your location, my recommendation is it's a good buy. I hope everyone have enjoyed what I've shared with you, and first off I'd like to thank Montech to provide this unit for me to share with you, and also to Block Soda to did the arrangement to pack this unit and to deliver to me. Now, I'm still in a shock stage of how well this air cooler performed, and it did beat some of the AIOs out there. I know there are some air coolers which is as good as AIOs, but that is very costly. So for this air cooler itself, right, as mentioned, recommendation from me is a good buy. So if this surface in your country and you wanted something that doesn't break your bank or break your pocket, this is a very good choice. Alright, for those of you who are actually new to my channel, welcome to my channel, and if you like my content, do remember to subscribe and to click on the notification bell button. Till then, take care, goodbye, see ya.